morning, podcast number 10. Super happy that we are achieving this milestone.
Yeah. 10 episodes.
10 episodes.
Yeah.
Here with Anton Minenko, the first and only Australian black belt male division world medalist.
In the
gi. Myself, Eduardo Dias, one of the pioneers of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Australia, 4th degree black belt. Here today with this wonderful friend and wonderful guest, great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well, Fred Perrini. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. We always start with like this. We already started talking before we started or whatever, some funny stories and stuff right off the bat, which is cool. But we always try and start with like the first kind of question is like, just like introduce yourself a little bit and what you do and things like that. And particularly when you started like training jiu-jitsu. And I can already understand from when we talked before that you started in Brazil when you were a bit younger. Do you want to go through like that story and how everything started?
Yeah, I started when I was 12, like it was 1994 in Brazil. I kind of didn't know what jiu-jitsu was. You know, I told my mom because I used to play soccer in school and lots of fight.
Yeah.
And there was one kid that did Muay Thai. He would bash everyone. We all scared of him.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to learn that. I wanted to learn Muay Thai. Learn, like if I had to fight him, I wanna.
You have to protect yourself. Yeah,
exactly. And then my mom found the place there, André Pederneiras, very well known in Rio.
Yeah.
And then I went there. My mom didn't know it. She just saw like the jiu-jitsu, judo, self-defense, and then my mom like, oh, I'm gonna put
him in there. This one's close enough.
Yeah. And then I went there. I didn't even know what it was. I still remember my first class there.
Yeah.
They showed me some stuff there. And I'm like, when am I gonna punch?
Punch somebody first, yeah.
I remember they showed me the guard there, and I was crossing like the
waist.
the waist there, and they're like, no, you can't. Like, and that's how it started. But then I love, you know, and then keep doing it. I did it till I was 18 there in Brazil. I got my purple belt when I was 18.
Yeah.
But back in the days, man, I didn't know jiu-jitsu was gonna be so big.
Yeah.
And that was
Fred, back then, like for people that don't know, André Pederneiras was one of the biggest leaders, you know, and creator of Nova União, which is a very famous Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, very traditional and famous Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu team that actually end up becoming one of the most successful Brazilian MMA teams as well.
Yeah.
Having people like Jose Aldo. Who else you remember training with you at that time?
Man, I remember some good. I was so lucky because I had classes with Shaolin. I don't know.
Robinho, Shaolin. How about Leo?
Leo was he almost never was in that place. He used to train in another one, but at a different time. But I was a kid, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people was really young too. Like when I look back, like Robinho got his black belt when he was 18. You know.
Yeah.
I remember. But I remember BJ Penn coming there.
Mm-hmm.
There was another when MMA started at the gym there. I remember those people training. There was a few Americans came.
Yeah.
I don't know, Lewis. I don't remember his name. It was Lewis. He ended up fighting there. That's how it started. That was the first American that I saw there.
BJ Penn was actually a world champion, eh?
Yeah.
Was the first American to become a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he got his black belt, I think, in 4 years. It was something super impressive.
He got the black belt in my gym.
I know, fighting under Nova União. I know that. I know.
And then next week he ended up winning the black belt. He got the black belt, and then he fought the.
And he helped a lot in preparing himself for MMA fights, and helped a lot, like sparring for people like Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
And what's the name of the other one that was like a chamber for 10 years? I forgot his name.
Renan Barão.
Yes.
Yeah, that was some good fighters there. And all the people that grow up end up being world champion or become like when I started there was like 3 kids
Yeah.
So there was 3 kids in the so we would roll with the adults.
Adults, yeah.
Yeah. I remember one is Marcelino,
Yeah.
Babu's brother.
Yes.
Lives in Melbourne now.
Lives in Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah. And there was me, him, and another kid. Yeah, and then we roll with the adults there.
That's very similar to how I started in South Australia, same type of thing. It was still just before Jiu-Jitsu exploded. You know what I mean? Just before it exploded and became this, like, more mainstream sport, when they had started making, like, you know, copying the karate kind of, like, commercialized version of things. Oh, we're going to do kids class, we're going to do this and that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have the same experience as you with, you know what I mean, like, the beginnings of Jiu-Jitsu, but even when I started here in Australia, the guys that were doing jiu-jitsu at the start weren't doing it for, you know, oh, this is a cool, fun thing, man. They're doing exactly for what you said. They either fought MMA or they wanted to learn how to defend themselves and do martial arts, and they were real martial artists and stuff.
Yeah.
It's super interesting because it's evolved so quickly because of social media and exposure and everything like that. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Fred, well, in being training with all these like amazing jiu-jitsu players, I, for example, remember I used to go to competitions in Rio, and I remember like I could go buy food, buy water, because a lot of fights are boring, you know.
Yeah.
But every time I was like, man, I have to. What time Robinho is gonna fight? Like Robinho was a guy that everyone wanna watch the fight, and a lot of guys from Nova União already said that he was the most impressive guy because he could fight with any other person's. It didn't matter the weight the person was, he would still do amazing, have like many different positions. What are your memories from, like, what are the best players in jiu-jitsu at that time, in your opinion, that you saw they have contact with?
From Nova União, from my gym, we always have like Shaolin was one of the top Shaolin in Robinho.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one guy that was really good. I think he was the best there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't a serious
competitor.
Yeah. Like it was Charut.
Yeah.
Charut was, for me, he was the best one, and then he used to teach for us the afternoon class.
Is this Charuto the black belt that teaches at that America MMA gym?
I think the last time I saw he was the one that went to Hawaii. They met BJ Penn. He's teaching Hawaii. He was. I don't know.
Because there's another Charuto that teaches at the California Kid gym in America as well. Brazilian black belt guy. Well,
maybe him. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah. Okay. So André Pederneiras is a black belt under Carson Gracie, right?
Yeah.
And Carson Gracie did amazing black belts, you know, that are spread all over the world, and they had an amazing understanding of jiu-jitsu in a super effective way. And let us know how it happened, like this move from you, like from when you started there and to, did you stop jiu-jitsu there before you come here? How did you happen for you to come to Australia as well?
Yeah, I came here, I got my purple belt at 18.
Yeah.
And then I trained a little bit more. And then I started uni in Brazil. Uni parties and and then put jiu-jitsu on the side. Stay. Man, it took me a while to come back. Then I came to Australia 2003. And I came to Australia to stay like 4 months to study English. You know, but 4 months you don't learn nothing, especially because I came here, didn't speak anything.
Yeah.
And then I stay. And then it took me 10 years to get back. I think I came to Ghana 2010.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got here, I saw jiu-jitsu here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna check it out. Like my first year, I'm gonna check it out. And there was like those Japanese jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't know.
And you could do the punching.
Yeah, but I didn't know. I didn't know. I thought it was the same, right? Yeah. Thought it was the same. I went there, and then I went there. I rolled with the guy there, the instructor there. Yeah. And then I smashed him. I smashed him like if he couldn't do nothing. And it was a purple belt. You know, the technique is so different. And then I'm like, man, this is not jiu-jitsu, man. What is this? And then I never came back there. And then when I find Garra, so Eduardo, of course, Brazilian, I'm like, that's the real jiu-jitsu. But it took me a while to get back.
Yeah, it was very big, the jiu-jitsu Japanese jiu-jitsu was really big. Like they were starting all PCYCs around here.
Yeah.
I remember when I just moved to Brisbane, there was actually a Kung Fu gym that was, I mean, in their heads, they were, that's what happened to me. I went to look for a place to teach back then. This is like 17 years ago. Just arrived in Brisbane and I was looking at what are the places that have martial arts? Maybe I can teach jiu-jitsu. So I arrived there and there's this lady teaching, at least she thought she was teaching Brazilian jiu-jitsu and screaming. No one had a gi. She's screaming and she probably got her belt from like one of these, like
online
a
thing.
guy come one day for a seminar and you know, and but anyway, like I remember to this day that the hair in my arms went up because I was like, when I arrived and I watched the class, I was like, oh, they're doing something else here. Like I'm gonna talk about, and she like, no, you're doing jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad, man. You know, how people, and because they're so far away from everything, they're buying it, you know what I mean? Like, and they actually believing it. And I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be a lot tougher than I thought.
They've never been exposed before to what the real thing is.
Yes.
And then because when we grow up, when we start jiu-jitsu in Brazil, we learned the self-defense. We did a lot of self-defense that back in the days. So I was used to, like, if the guy tried to
punch or something,
try to hit me, I was do the clinch and then keep close there, take him down. Yeah, and then that was weird. I was like, man, this is not jiu-jitsu.
What age did you move to Australia, Fred?
I was 21.
Man, early, man.
Yeah.
21, yeah. Just turned 21. That was in January, beginning of the year, 2003.
What made you want to come to Australia? Was there any reason that?
I wanted to go overseas to learn English, right?
Yeah.
So I thought about the countries there. America, didn't really want to go to America. England would be cold and expensive too. You know, I thought Australia more similar to Brazil, like the climate,
they like barbecues,
Man, yeah. And then
the choice process was very similar to
I thought about the like Nicole Kidman, all those.
You're picking all the special reasons.
Those laws, I'm like, I think I'm gonna be alright there.
fitting well.
And then I moved to Australia, and then I don't regret. You know, I love this country.
Did you end up finishing uni there?
I didn't. I had 2 more years to finish.
Mm-hmm.
2 more years to finish, and then after a while there, because I was staying here there, you cannot lock, because you can lock the uni there.
Yeah. You can defer the course there for later.
Yeah, but only for a few years, like 5 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 5 years. And then I was like, really 5 years, I didn't want to come back to Brazil. I'm like, man, what am I gonna do there? Yeah.
What were you studying before you?
I did marketing.
Okay, marketing. Cool. Awesome.
And then I thought about transfer the uni here.
Yeah.
End up getting all the credits though. So I only did 2 years here.
So you finished and graduated here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And the same thing in marketing and.
No, I got the credits, but I finished in business, major in sport manager, events manager, all this stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, really awesome, man! Congratulations. That's an awesome achievement, eh?
Yeah.
It's a lot harder than people think to come to another country, different language, and be able to achieve that kind of, graduation.
Yeah.
Good.
And then I only started this after I finished here, uni in Brazil. Uni in Brazil, you know, you can get out, but when you're doing another language, you know, you have to study. I was living in the library there, when I was at uni, I couldn't afford to pay, you know. It's expensive here.
Yeah. You have to make sure it happens. We talked about this type of like attitude or stuff for people that migrate or you know, move to other countries and stuff like that. You under like a different level of stress and scrutiny and stuff like that. You don't have the chance of like, oh, if it doesn't work out, I'm just gonna go live with mom and dad. Oh, if it doesn't
responsibility
work out,
comes like.
Well, yeah, it's like everything. Like I just think it's funny that people, for whatever reason, have like picked a bigger, more intense form of accountability for themselves. Always gravitate towards jiu-jitsu. I don't know why. It's just a common. Like belief thing that happens from people, or something that they learn by necessity throughout their life or whatever. a lot of the people, and again, it's not everyone. It's not like everyone at jiu-jitsu knows everything about life and has to get everything figured out. No, we've all got problems. We've all got things we don't understand properly. But for whatever reason, most people that started, things earlier on in their life, sports, jiu-jitsu, whatever, most people that go and move to other countries or move away from their parents and take on a sense of independence earlier on, they start to learn about themselves, and I think that's something that's missing a lot. Everyone's like looked after all the time from just like most people that live in, whether it's in any type of Western country or whatever, like everything's catered to you and you're looked after so much by daddy government or daddy mum and dad, whatever, whoever it is, they look after you so much that you don't even put in a position where you're forced to grow as a person. You can get by just sitting on the couch and smoking a cigarette and getting the Farmers Union iced coffee, walking down to the the corner store. Like,
that's true.
I think it's interesting that a lot of the people that we have talked to on these podcasts, or the people that we meet doing jiu-jitsu, that always have this same kind of thing where they've accepted challenge and responsibility in their life, or they've started things early that bring challenge into their life. They always seem to gravitate towards jiu-jitsu at some point. Yeah. And it's really, for me, it's interesting to notice.
Because jiu-jitsu has this like very fundamental aspect. You're going to have lessons every day, and you have to improve, which is exactly the same when you throw yourself in these challenges. Like, you're going to have lessons every day. You have to keep accountable. You have to have the responsibility to overcome whatever happens. You can't rely on assistance or coming back. You just have to push forward. So it is both are very, very similar. You know what I mean?
I think it's like it's a very like compact, like parallel to life. You know what I'm saying? What you're doing there in jiu-jitsu and stuff like that is the same thing you do in life. It's just in a more controlled, safer environment. The thing that I think that we haven't really talked about it before, but lots of people like to talk about with the techniques when we teach and stuff like that. Oh, what's the best thing? Or what's the thing that works the most? And the thing is like, I constantly have to say the same things. Like, there is no best thing. Depends what you're trying to do. And the thing you start to learn later in life, or after, learning jiu-jitsu and getting decently good at it, is you start to recognize there's no one thing that's better or worse than anything else. There's only things that you do, and then the outcomes from them. And it just depends what you want as the outcome, what you want as the result. And like, for me, I've learned so much more about life than the technical skills of jiu-jitsu by doing jiu-jitsu, because of all these ideas. And if you just think about it a little bit, or if you put yourself in a position like moving away from home and studying overseas and challenging yourself with all this crazy stressful stuff, and like evolving and becoming a bigger person and a better person and always trying to improve yourself, like you realize so many different things about life and yourself, man.
And I think there is a point where, I'm pretty sure happened to you as well. Like, I remember when you challenge yourself and you have these experiences, a lot of the times you're gonna make like a fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, things that you challenge yourself and then you accomplish or you don't accomplish. You have a laugh. You have because at the end of the day, like, you're gonna have memories. That's all that matters. It's all about memories. You're gonna get old, man. What counts is the memories, And
there's gonna be good ones and bad ones, but like, man, there's ups and downs in life. Like,
but even with the downs, you can have a laugh, man. That's the beauty.
100%. You can laugh about it. You can go, I shouldn't have done that. That was silly, whatever.
But if you never exposed, you're not gonna have so many of these stories. You know what I mean? To tell, And these stories what makes life so fun, man. I think
that's true.
You're pretty sure you had some stories that, like,
it's the same with, what I mean? The same story talking about of like being scared of the guy that was bashing everyone in the soccer field and stuff like that, and like, I better learn that.
I remember a funny story, because in Brazil we would never have to install air conditioning. You know what I mean? You give like $10, the guy that look after your mom would do it, and the guy would go, oh, what do you want? The air conditioning. You don't even see it. You just go and turn it on. Isn't that right? So I remember here I rent as soon as I arrived, I rent this apartment here, and I was like, Jesus, it's so hot, man. Brisbane is crazy, and I was like, all right, let's get this aircon, save some money, bought the aircon. I was like, all right, man, how do I install that? Okay, I have not a clue. Whoa, it's not mine. I can't put it. There wasn't a place. It's like, okay, I have to build like some a dodgy, get a piece of plywood, you know, open a hole, you know, I never touch this stuff. Put it in there, tray. Man, when I turned it on, it was working. All I did, like for half an hour, I got a beer and keep drinking like in front of there. I'm like so happy, you know, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice,
But Fred, look, it's funny, like a lot of people don't know that, and now they will. Fred, I gave this very kind nickname because his name is Fred Perrini, but I call him Dedé. And Dedé is the nickname of André Pederneiras, which was his first coach. So even on my phone, it's like Fred Perrini, Dedé. So, Dedé, when you arrived here, you had a very strong focus. Your game was you have a very strong guard, right? A lot of guard positions, and you know, and with a lot more effective playing from the bottom. And like some time ago, I mentioned that to you, even like we trained together, and you started to kind of like have a top game, very solid, you know what I mean, very effective as well. And can you tell us what do you have to go through to kind of like started to get better with these other areas of jiu-jitsu, and what advices you could give to people that are like in a situation where, like, because it happens so much that a guy has, maybe the guy is a great bottom game, or the guy has a great passes guard really well, but the guard is very weak. Like what advice would you give to someone that to equalize that, to become like strong at everything?
I think the key is to like your self recognize what you need to improve. Like it's not like you know, we used to, like when I was younger, I would go to the guard, I would go to the competition, pull the guard, spider guard, triangle. Like I won like the national championship. Like all my fights was exactly the same, pulling, and then you think it's fine, right? But when you're on top and then you're getting swept, and you know, so training the high level, get finished, but then you have to recognize yourself. Like, man, I need.
You start to realize the things that you're not doing well in, or the flaws that you have.
Yeah, well, are you doing jiu-jitsu to just giving triangle to? Yeah. Is that all you're gonna know?
Yeah.
So you really have to push yourself to try, man. You're gonna fail beginning, but then something click and you start you start getting good. You know how to put the weight. You know. Yeah. I learned most of from you, like my top game.
That was funny because I told you that one day I was training with you recently. I was like, man, I feel exactly like, you know, like how I think I made you feel, you know, because you just feel terrible.
Exactly. The thing that if you're on top of me, you know, I can be like, oh yeah, man, just the way, he's got me, right? Yeah. But in your head, you should, like, someone high level is on top of you. You should learn how to, you know, don't be scared and put yourself there. Because once you know what they're doing, you know, and then you start doing, and then it makes sense, you know.
Yeah, you're gonna figure it out to some extent.
Exactly.
There's so much about feeling, man.
Yeah, for sure. But I think like the biggest thing that he's saying is like, for you to improve, like from your question, for you to improve in anything, you have to use every opportunity of your failure as an option to grow from that, or as an opportunity to grow and improve. Like the thing is the most common thing in life that we do now, because we live in like a society, especially in Western countries, where, like I said before, it's so catered and it's such a participation thing. Oh, well done. Even though you didn't do what you wanted, well done. Here's a medal. Oh, well done. Oh, you're the best. Oh, everything's the best. And like, the problem with this attitude all the time is that people never expose themselves to feeling uncomfortable anymore. But that's the only way to improve. Yeah. And what happens now is, instead of feeling uncomfortable and recognizing, going, you know what, I want to change it. I want to learn how to fight so I don't get knocked out like that guy doing MMA. That's scary. Oh, there's a feeling that's registering that I'm not good in something and I need to improve on it. People are deterred. People are scared of that now. Even just noticing that they have a flaw is a problem. Yeah. Oh, I need a safe space. I need a safe space to sit and calm down. Oh, where's my chai tea? Oh my God, I cannot right now. I can't do it. Like,
sometimes they say that exactly that. I cannot do. I'm terrible at math or whatever. I'm terrible, and then don't try to improve.
I know, and that's why they stay like that. But that's the attitude that forces you into this downward spiral. Like, if you're always afraid of how you feel, if you're always afraid of failing and all this stuff, you never even try. And if you never even try, you're never going to get the result you want. The problem with most people, with jiu-jitsu or people in life, is that they will sit there in the same spot and complain about everything and be unhappy and then do nothing about it. Yeah. And like, how can you have the outcome that you want sitting there twiddling your thumbs or sitting there doing whatever? Like Fred's saying, you got to use the opportunities to improve.
Exactly. And you got a lot of opportunities available now. we got privates. We got BJJ101, man. Like if you want to improve, man.
Yes.
Get there, man.
True. So BJJ101.com.au is an online curriculum that Anton put it together. There's over 500 positions. I use myself. Fred uses himself as well. It's a lot of good material in like an online program that is specific to make you advance in topics. So you go half guard border, you're gonna have a lot of positions, submissions from that position, back takes, and so on. But it's super well thought and it's easy to remember. And I think it's super important. You wanna evolve at some areas, like you go there, you get 2 positions and you try and train. You're responsible so much for your improvement to get the information, and you have to try when you're in training. A lot of people, they get on a automated mode when they're in training and they just do what they're good at. You're never going to improve. Doesn't matter how many classes you're attending a year, never going to happen. You have to go and put yourself in that position. But Fred, you've been teaching like for a long time, and you're doing a great job as well. And you guys doing a lot of privates. You do a lot of privates as well, normal classes. There's a lot of privates. And one thing that I want to talk to you guys is that there's always, people, I think a lot of people think that private classes, they just for people that, before the competition, I'm going to do some privates. Yeah. And it's funny because that's actually the thing that happened the least, right? Yeah. Majority of people that does privates are like people that are like, they have busy lifestyle or they want to improve quicker. They want to a safe training, because with a coach, it's gonna be nearly impossible for them to get hurt, because you're training, you're guiding, you see the guy's gonna get in a spot, you're gonna change, you're gonna open up.
We're skilled enough to control the intensity of sparrings and things like that.
And people like in a certain age, like which I am including myself right now, you have you want to make things, you have no problem on spending money to feel good. You know what I mean? Because this feel good means that you're gonna go back to your work and you're gonna be more productive. You're gonna feel back to your family. You're gonna feel better. So it's an awesome investment, right? And there's a lot of like people like over 30s there. We have privates for kids as well. You know what I mean? That we teach. We have privates for groups, for families. What do you feel like? You two here. What do you feel like how do you feel the importance of privates, and what do you think you can address as well, like in terms of like give a little bit of guidance in the game, or showing positions that they have difficulties, speed up their game? What are your points here, guys?
I think it's all that you said. All that you said. And I like to work on their games to be honest, because I don't want to go to a private and show something totally different that they're not used to, like
for sure. With this like point, I always try to get like whatever someone books a private of, I always ask them like, all right, what do you specifically want to work on? And normally I'm like, man, have a think about because this is something that's very uncommon for people, but like you're saying, looking at yourself, most people don't. Even with privates, they just turn up and say, all right, what can you show me? And it's like, I can show you whatever you want, but let's start from the beginning. All right, what are you actually already doing? So before you come into the private, what are you actually already doing? And how does it work? And do you have success with it? And what are the problems? Let's start with that. Let's fix the things that aren't working. And then if you want to add a few things here and there that help with what you're already doing, we'll do that. because you can come and say, I want to get good at leg locks, and I can spend time on leg locks, but in one session you're not going to remember unless you're coming consistently and doing privates regularly. You're going to waste a session trying to learn a new skill that you could just watch on YouTube. You know what I mean? You can go and watch that on YouTube, you can go and watch that on BJJ101, but unless you're actively working on it and performing it and doing it and rehearsing it and going over and spending a block of time doing that, you're just going to forget everything. So I think privates are like a really great tool for accelerating your learning, like you were saying before, and like giving you that extra thing to get on top of everything. And the more sessions you do and the more information you consume, the better you get. Right? The more sessions, the more training, the more information, always the more you're going to improve. But only if you're taking it in and then doing something with it. Because a lot of people just consume information but never apply anything with it. You know what I mean? Like people watch this or go and do seminars on how to meditate and do all these things and stuff, and then they go straight back to their normal life and nothing changes. You know what I'm saying? So unless you're putting that stuff that you're learning into application, like actually performing it in your life or in your day, you're wasting your time.
And just that ability as well, to be able for 1 hour to be taught technically, but also to roll with that person that has an expertise. That is like, you're doing a high level jiu-jitsu, you're exposed to that kind of feeling, you know what I mean, in a training. So that's also a priceless experience. I remember, I'm actually having this deja vu in my head. I remember, you see how much you like jiu-jitsu, for example. Like I remember I was a blue belt, can't remember age, maybe 17, maybe 16, I can't really remember. But I remember my parents gave a birthday present, said, what do you want? I said, man, I want 10 privates, you know what I mean? And then I done the 10 privates. And I still have positions from that one that I still, because I had a really good omoplata back on the day. And I remember there was like a couple of variations, you know what I mean? Chains and all that I still remember this day, so that shows like the amount of focus that you can get as long as you're responsible and you want to take the information that will stay with you long. But yeah, I think like nowadays I have a complete understanding on, I'm happy to pay for things that will make me feel good in my head, because you work hard and you're always trying to achieve and make things the best you can and deal with everything that comes, but that's important for you to have that energizing feel good, and that's the fuel. So if that's what makes me happy, I'm going to invest on that, you know what I mean? Like I tell people, you have choices in life. You can go and spend $200 in the valley, have 10 drinks, next day you don't remember what happened, you feel shit, you can't even go to training.
They might feel good while they're drinking it, but the thing is like improving yourself as a person is the most fulfilling, happiest thing you can do in life, you know what I mean? Whether it's like growing and evolving, learning a skill, or building friendships and relationships and networking with people, like this is stuff that's fulfilling to your life. Going and drinking or whatever, or eating something that's, I feel great for 10 minutes.
But some people love to go drinking, but you have to find what makes you feel, the best. Like as you get, a little bit more maturity, you go, man, these things make me feel awesome. That thing, okay, well, that's where I'm going to go.
Investing
without what other people think, without other people thought that you should do it, man, it's you. It's your life.
Exactly.
But I think like what I said before is like, the more you kind of gravitate towards investing in what improves you as a human being and a person, 100%. You're going to find fulfillment in that always.
True.
You know what I mean? And like talking about with the private stuff before and with what Fred said about taking accountability of yourself, like this stuff, it's uncomfortable at the time, but it's the most fulfilling thing you can do because you just improve and get better. And whenever you're moving forward in life or in anything, you always feel better about things.
Yes. I actually have a funny story here. I remember I was teaching one day and I can see this sound really like not high volume or anything, but coming from somewhere, and I keep like looking around as if it's a mobile or something. And then when I like there's people go, what a time after between trains. Like I watch this Fred and Fabio like really close to the shelves, just looking at the phone. And as I was walking close by, I see they train jiu-jitsu. They also observing how's the soccer team going as well. You know what I mean? When they're playing, so they go there, they go for water. Okay, 1-0. Oh my God, no, that's. And then they come back. I was like, man, this is so, so into soccer. So aside from soccer, which after that is clear that you have this passion. What else? What other hobbies do you have, Fred?
Man, those soccer, but like playing soccer too. Watching soccer. I like watching sports.
We have to organize to have like a soccer game, everyone, like we used to do. It's really awesome. Like just, I used to do that in Brazil as well, with Otávio and everything. And just to have like that, I think it's very important to have that extra activities aside from jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? A couple of times a year, I think is very important, if it's a sport, another sport as well, But I remember when we used to play, you used to try, all you want to do is put the ball between my legs, like the whole time. Like, you didn't want to score a goal, all you want to do is do that.
I wanted to humiliate you.
You want to make me, So all I have to do was like close my legs, And if he does, I'll go on his leg and do a little bit hard.
But humiliate, I think like whether it's humiliation or failing or losing something, all of these like negative experiences, they're all the catalyst for you to get better, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're an opportunity to improve yourself.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's something that most people, like I was talking about before with, like, the nanny state of affairs and how everything is, and, like, oh, you're the best, and, oh, let me massage your feet.
Get the tick.
Yeah, exactly like that. Oh, would you like a chamomile tea? Oh, let's relax. Like, all this type of stuff actually leads to the opposite of what people want, which is being confident and being happy with themselves and all this stuff. And it's like, the more you avoid all these negative emotions and negative feelings and like, man, some of the hardest conversations in your life that you're going to have with people are completely true. Like, people are going to tell you like, all right, this is what's wrong. This is what's happening. You're not doing this thing. Or for me, I've had conversations with, coaches and things like that in rugby saying like, man, you're making all these mistakes, you're doing things. It doesn't feel good to receive that. But for you to get better and to achieve your goal and to have confidence in yourself and improve yourself as a person, you need those things. You need those experiences that are uncomfortable to force you into action and go, all right, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to sit here and complain and feel sad for myself? Or am I going to get on my bike and get up and do something about it?
I remember André Pederneiras said that to me, like when I was a blue belt. I was the blue belt, I was doing that, the triangle. The triangle there.
Smashing everyone with the triangle,
And he said to me, man, your triangle is like a black belt level. But you're not going to change any belt. You just come in and do the same thing. You gotta put yourself in the other position, learn all this stuff. Because I would get myself sweep and get back to get the triangle. They're like, man, that's not the you're good at jiu-jitsu. You're good at triangle. You're not good at jiu-jitsu.
Which brings to another thing too. Like, I normally, when people ask me, what's the thing that I have to do to get better on the bottom, or vice versa? What is the thing that I have to get good on the top? You spend time there.
Exactly.
So if if you're gonna get good on the top, but don't get swept and accept because you're good on the bottom, you're gonna do a triangle. Spend time on the top.
Exactly.
It's so obvious, it's clear. Like, just spend time there,
Exactly. And I think the best thing for you to get better on the bottom is learn first how to defend the path.
I agree with this philosophy as well. Like, for you to have confidence, and we've been doing that most of this year with all the teaching at Gaha and stuff like that, is like, for you to be comfortable in any scenario, whether it's on the bottom or like in a threatening situation, all right, let's learn how to stop that from happening.
Exactly.
You're in the mount, all right, this is how you escape. You're in the side control all the time, this is how you escape. You get stuck in the armbar all the time, all right, this is how you defend. You get stuck on the back and the guy's trying to choke you, all right, this is how you defend. You get caught in the triangle, no problem. This is how you defend. And the thing is you don't have to cover everything, but if you cover like the main postures and the few main scenarios, now you give people confidence that even if they're stuck there, they know what to do to get out. And now it's just a matter of time of them getting good at it. And I think the cool thing is what you're all saying is like, instead of being scared of all those uncomfortable situations and never going to the mount because I'm going to do bad, like you said before, we're training with Eduardo, I let the guy come on the top in the side control, no, you force yourself into those uncomfortable positions. You force yourself to overcome those things that make you feel horrible, make you feel bad about yourself, and then you become a better thing.
Yeah.
You evolve. You're the little, caterpillar turning into a butterfly. You're evolving. You know what I mean? You're coming out of the cocoon, and every time for you to do that throughout your life requires challenge and being upset and all of this stuff.
Yeah,
and the more you keep putting yourself in bad scenarios in terms of and then learning from them, the more you evolve and the better you get. The thing that I do want to mention though about BJJ101 that can help with this specific scenario too is we've made a massive focus on trying to understand how things work. And it's not like you should do this to be good or you should do this to be good. No. Here's how it works. Here's how to understand it. And then you can make your own decisions. You know what I mean? And I think for me, that's always been the best way for me to take in things. Is not people telling me how to do things, but people presenting like, look, this is how stuff works. You take in as much information as you can and then make your own decisions because you have free will as a human being to do whatever you want, but you need to understand the repercussions and the outcomes for the things you do. And once you know that, you can make good decisions for yourself. And I think most people never spend any time actually understanding how things work, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's how to run their business, whether it's how to have a relationship. People have all these ideas and beliefs about things just because.
Yeah.
And just because doesn't mean you're an expert. You know what I mean? How many times have you talked to other people in the class or me too that are telling me what techniques to do? I'm like, wait a second. All right, how does an armbar work? Oh, wait a second. How does an E-bar work? But I watch this and this one's the best and this thing's good. Man, you're talking from a position without understanding everything, and you still want to tell and say. And I mean, this is a very, very easy thing to get caught up in because there is so much information, there is so many things available, and there are so many people selling that snake oil thing. Like, this is a course on how to get $1 million in 10 days. This is a course on how to get social media, This is a course on how to lose. The best armbar ever.
Yeah, 100%
this series of leg locks is the best. You'll never need to learn how to submit world-class black belts in 3 weeks watching this DVD. Like, this stuff's always available. And why do people do that? Because people buy it. Because it sells.
But before you watch the DVD, you must buy the pill that does well for your brain. It makes you smarter.
Or you're going to do this workout program or diet program and you're going to lose all your weight in 3 weeks. 3-week workout program, whatever. Like, everything's about superseding the thing that's actually always going to happen. Life's difficult. Life's hard. Everything is. Anything that's worthwhile is going to be hard. And what people don't want is anything that's hard. So they will spend all their money, they'll do everything they can to find something that's as quick and easy as possible.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
And unfortunately, that's just not the way it is. You know what I mean? And and you can tell people this as much as you want. Like, it's up to them to decide that they're going to do that. Because it's way easier to sit at home, complain and go, I need to lose weight, I'm going to buy that workout plan. Do it one time, never do it again, and go, but I tried and it didn't work. It's that thing's fault.
Yeah.
I did the plan that was supposed to work in 2 weeks.
That doesn't work.
Yeah. And then it's the plan's fault. It's the guy that made the plan, whatever.
And then they go to the next one.
Yeah, correct. And they go to the next one with the same problem, the next one, and the next fad, the next thing. And this happens with jiu-jitsu, this happens with everything. Like, it's finding some control over your emotions or your mind is the most difficult thing in your life that you're always going to struggle with every day. It never gets any easier. You know what I mean? And I think, like, jiu-jitsu, funnily enough, is like a controlled, safe way of starting to learn yourself and starting to learn how your mind works and trying to find some control over it rather than it controlling you. And like, man, I can't say enough good things about me learning jiu-jitsu and starting so early in life. I'm happy that I started like in a similar position to you. I started when I was like 13, 14 years old, training with like men that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get to like be the biggest kid in the class and just get by being strong. I think that's one of the major reasons why I got good at jiu-jitsu in the end to begin with. Yeah. Because I didn't rely on my strength. I couldn't. I wasn't allowed to.
Same, man. You know and training with the adults, I remember when I was competing, because I used to train with the adults, then
was easy.
With the kids and just
throw them around,
This is so easy, yeah.
I think that's interesting, like, because I think, like, we've been talking about a lot, like, underlying in everything we've been saying, but, like, the more you keep committing yourself to things that are hard and difficult, and like the more you persevere and overcome those obstacles, the better things get in your life and the better things get in general.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard at the time and it's difficult right now, but just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Eventually, like for me, I whether it was with rugby or with jiu-jitsu, man, I didn't win a lot of competitions. I lost many competitions. I lost many situations where I was in a semi-final or a final. I lost many situations on the first fight. You know what I mean? You don't get better by going, oh, I lost my first fight, I'm never going to compete again.
Exactly. It's all mind.
What you do is and the same stories for everyone. You know what I mean? Bushesh talks about it, you know, the first, you know, how many 15 competitions he went to and all this stuff. He never won. He never did all this thing, but what did he do? He persevered. He kept going. And you're always one step away. But the thing is most people quit one step before that. Most people quit 2 steps before that. Most people quit 3 steps before that. Yeah. And that perseverance and that attitude of like, I'm going to accept challenge and I'm just going to move forward in my life and I'm going to get better from that. And that setback's going to make me better. Exactly. And that next setback's going to make me better. Yeah.
If you think about like
that's the only thing that works.
There's a saying that I don't know what's the saying, but like every successful people had to go to failure.
Too many failures before.
Many failures first.
So true.
Yeah.
But no one wants to go through the failures because they don't feel good.
Quit as soon as the first obstacle comes.
Fred, just I want to ask this question, like from all times, like where are the guys, like if you could give like 5 names or all the guys that you found like that you would go and like really found the jiu-jitsu of the guy amazing for any reason that you think, of course, very personal, but like without having people from anywhere, from any time, any generation.
I think Marcelo Garcia was the best one that I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And man, so much, man.
No, go for it. I know you have
Roger Grace for the. If I have to pick a top 5, I'd go Roger Grace for all the successful that he had, like most champion, I think. Then, man, I might go Robinho.
Yeah.
Robinho is my.
Robinho probably be my list as well.
Yeah. Robinho.
So for the guys that don't know who Robinho is, can you say his name or?
Yeah, Robson Moura.
Yeah. So he's a very, very famous guy, multiple world champion, gi, no gi, 80cc, everything, like very, very famous guy. Yeah. So if you want to check that guy out, check out Robson
Amazing guard, amazing, like super
very crazy position,
creative,
type thing, very interesting game.
Yeah. Ahead of his time, I should say.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
That's true. I know it's a difficult question. It's a difficult question.
Definitely, this is my top 3, but who else in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, look, that actually you like, you know, like this is very, because you can go so many directions.
I go Rickson Gracie. Man, when I grew up, like the famous guys, like from our era was Valid. Valid was like a character. Yeah, it's a character.
I think it's.
I don't know, man. There's so many. It can go different ways, as you said. Can go,
everyone like saying Valid's this guy that's just all about emotion and persevering.
And then go to the meet and talk, beat all the graces.
No, but everyone has like their strengths and weaknesses and things, and it's like I'm saying, like, you know, don't shy away from bad emotions. Thing like everything has good things and bad things. Like it's, in my opinion, to be technical at jiu-jitsu, you have to be systematic and remove all emotion. Right? You can't be emotional when you're talking about decision making. Decision making is one of the few things that if you add emotion, you have problems. But for competition, for overcoming problems, emotion is one of the strongest, most important things ever. Yeah. That's what allows Jacare, you know, to get a broken arm in the final of 2004 Mundials and pull his arm out and keep going and keep going. That's what emotion's good for, to overcome impossible odds. Yeah. But to have good outcomes and things, you can't have any emotion at all. Right? To make good decisions, you can't have emotion at all. You know what I mean? You have to be so systematic, and if the guy does this, it means that, and if the guy does this, it means that. And finding a balance of those things is very difficult. Yeah. Like for competition and stuff like that, man. I think it's such an interesting fusion in jiu-jitsu that you learn about emotions and decision making and the balance of both of them, and everything just is what it is and has its purpose and is a mechanism to achieve whatever you want to achieve. And you have to learn how to harness those tools, put them in your tool belt, and
like a box.
and put them in your toolbox and learn when to use them and when to apply them and when not to. Most people, they never try to learn. All they do is they open the toolbox. I want to do this. Bang, bang, bang. Smash the whole saw. And they're like, oh no, look what I've done. Like, you got to start to, at some point, like you said, put ownership on yourself and start looking at things in a, you know what I mean? Just in a way that you can use them later on. Not in such a reckless way. I think a lot of people approach everything in life way too recklessly. And I'm just going to do things in one way. Like, it's either too much on system and like, no, this is what it means in that, or it's just completely emotional and they have no control over anything, and it's really, really hard to find that balance, man. In terms of your question before though, about like guys that you've experienced in terms of physically in jiu-jitsu that you've watched or you've been in a seminar with and stuff like that, is there any guys that you can mention? I have one person that to this day for me, and maybe because I was younger when I did it, but I did a seminar when I was very young, maybe 14, 15, something like that. You told
me, but yeah, please say.
And I did a seminar with Ricardo Liborio. Now, the reason that happened was because where I was training at the time, they were childhood friends, and, you know, he was the head instructor at ATT at the time and all this stuff, a very famous guy. But for me, he's the most technical human being that I've ever experienced. And the reason being is, it wasn't like a formal seminar. He was just there because of like some UFC stuff in Australia. And he went there and he's like, all right, I'll run the class or whatever. And he's like, all right, I'm going to teach you guys whatever. All right, let all of you roll with each other, let's have a look at this. And just from watching everybody, he's like, all right, these are the things you guys need to work on because these are the mistakes happening all the time. All right, here's the techniques. And man, for me, the guy's just so vast in his knowledge and so technical in just the way he moved and everything. It was so perfectly positioned, and for me that was the most like such a rich experience to know, like, man, this is somebody with a deep understanding of jiu-jitsu that I'd never experienced before.
Yes. Yeah.
Is there anybody that you guys could say about the same experience? Or
well, yes, I had so I had a similar experience to yours in a way where I was really young. I think it was one of the things that put me into jiu-jitsu as well, which was Silvio Bering, which is a very famous Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach. Is a very famous family as well. That's where Fabrício Verdun came from, and many other guys. Corleta, do you remember Corleta? Yeah, very famous as well back in the day. He had people. He was doing like a seminar, self-defense seminar, and that, like, he knew so much about self-defense. You know what I mean? It was so beautiful. And back in the day, there was so many fights. I was like, man, this is it. I need to learn that. So I want to keep playing soccer and surfing without trouble. So that was one for me. It was very, you know. Then I think, like, for proximity and watching, I think Leo Vieira was another one. Just by guy in brown belt just would come to visit our gym. Just the way the guy moved, everyone would be. It was kind of funny. You're training here, but everyone, you look at everyone's doing like this. They don't need to worry about what's happening here. Man. It was so funny to watch. So that was another, just a guy that had positions that were not like
so unique.
So unique and then like a bit more acrobatic, but effective.
Beautiful.
Not acrobatic like for advantage. Acrobatic that is actually, you see the end. He's taking the back and he's submitting. Like it's not like
such a unique form of doing it. At the time, it's so beautiful, man.
At the time,
it just adds like this aesthetic element to it. It just looks so beautiful and amazing. And, you know, it's poetry happening or a dance occurring.
But, you know, that was, I mean, for me, like, I mean, in terms of, but there's so many, it's super difficult. I found Holy Grace, like, in terms of strategy, just in how he strategy in a fight and how he wins, like, open divisions, and, you know what I mean? The guy, man, won so many fights, you know what I mean? Like, and so again, so many different weight divisions, like, in such a strategic way that I found very impressive as well. for his size as well, but the strategy that he implements during fights is really amazing. And look, it's just the list goes. I found another guy that I found like amazing, which was a very good friend of mine, still to this day, is Nino Chambry, which was like the guy that created Gogo Plata. Rubber Guard, which is just like, it was, I remember training with him in his house, and I remember talking to myself. I was like, man, the day I passed the guy, because you'd be here in side control and he would get his thumb and bring it here, his toe, bring it here, and then you back to there.
Pass it in front of your face and go back to
and you go like, man, I remember talking to myself, man, the day I pass his guard, I should get a purple belt. Just how difficult that was. Yeah. I was like, that day never happened anyway, but I ended up getting graduated without that. But it was absolutely amazing, you know. There was many guys, man, but this is what like touched me. Hobbying for sure.
Yeah.
Another one. Guys, Fred, thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure being here. Thank you for
Thank you so much for coming in and sharing like your stories and stuff and your insights about training and stuff. And I think it's just funny that like most of us have so many parallels in the way we think and stuff like that, because we've had the same experience and we've gone through all these difficult things to achieve, getting a black belt and all that. And yeah, man, there's certain things you got to do in life to get to where you want, and if you don't do them, you can't get there.
And Fred is a great asset for Garra as well. I think he's a super nice person, like that everyone loves Fred, you know what I mean? Like an awesome human being, great friend, person. He's a really good friend of mine.
Very patient. Very patient,
excellent coach. Like excellent training partner, a guy that you always look forward to train during training sessions. So man, it's a great to have you around. Like, to be honest, you know what I mean.
It's a pleasure, man. I love
thank you, man.
I love everyone here from the.
Thank you.
This gym, this guy.
Yeah, let's play again. Let's play more soccer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.